Hi, it's Annalie. I thought today I might give you a little tour of my craft room. I see a lot of times on Facebook people asking how people store things and how they organize. So I'm going to just give you a little quick peek at what I do with my room. It is nothing extraordinary. I'm actually showing you because it's very ordinary. I use what I have. I really haven't gone out to buy anything super new. And I just kind of make it work. So hopefully I have some tips and tricks for you. Maybe you'll get some ideas and will help you with your own craft room. So let's take a look. So here's my craft room. I think the first thing that you might notice is, well, first of all, nothing matches. And I have no flat walls. So I have to be creative with my organization space because I'm on the third floor of an old house and I don't have any flat walls in this room at all. So I'm just gonna give you a quick tour. Right here, you'll notice a lot of my cabinets. Most of them are from when I had young kids and they were from their playrooms. So nothing is expensive. This is where I keep all my watercolors. And then right next to it, I have a desk that I do my alcohol marker coloring with. Just because I have so many markers and they're out of the way from my main desk. Over here, I have crates, old small crates that I got probably at Michael's. And I just painted them with chalkboard paint. And then I labeled them with chalk. I can't find my chalk, so I haven't labeled these, but those are labeled. And over here I have an antique cabinet that I actually found in the garbage. So I picked it up and brought it home and painted it. I just have a mishmash of stuff in there. Flowers for photography. When I'm photographing my cards, sometimes I like to add some flowers in there. Here I have a ton of crates that I also used in my kids' playroom. And now I just stack them up side by side and use them for containers for all my different art supplies. Here I have a box filled with all of my Christmas dies and stamps. These are my cover dies. So they're in here. They're not organized in any special way. They're just in this little basket. Here I have all of my embossing folders. These I do have organized by company. So I have Stampin' Up, I have Altenew, I have Spellbinders, I have Simon Says Stamps, Darice, Sizzix, they're all in there. Here, this is something that I found at an antique store. And I said, ooh, that would be so perfect in my craft room. So this is where I have my pre-made card bases, envelopes. I have the plastic that I put them in when my cards are all finished, different size envelopes. It's also a perfect place to put my cards when they're finished before I put them away. They can be here to dry. Sometimes I put them here if I haven't signed the back. Sometimes I put them here if I need to finish them. This one I know I need to make an envelope. So that's here just so that I can remember to finish it. And then down here I have my stamps. These bins are from IKEA. This one I have pretty much sorted so that these are mostly birthday sentiments. These are mostly thank you sentiments, sympathy. I have new home. But of course, you know, sometimes you find sentiments that aren't just a birthday. So I either put them in there or I put them down here where these sentiments can be more of anything. Plus I have a lot of critters in here. There's some butterflies. I have a lot of flowers, critters, just kind of what doesn't fit into one of the other categories will go in here. And then I have another box of stamps, which is the same kind of thing. They're just stamps that go with whatever. They're not completely organized. Here are just some extra plastic boxes in case I have some die cuts that I haven't been able to use. I'll throw them in there. These are my sequins and my dots that are in packaging. And then these are filled with different sequins. These are just bead boxes that I had when I was doing jewelry. I'll show you this one. This one, these are all handmade sequins. I use this half circle, oh, I can't remember the name of it, die. It's a cover die from Altenew, and it makes all different size circles. So what I do is I make my own sequins, and this way they're not bulky. So this whole tray happens to be handmade, but then all of the rest are purchased sequins and baubles and gems or whatever. That's that. Over here I have a box filled with plates and different tools. The way I organize those, I have a wooden dish rack in the bottom, and then I can just place my items right in between. So I have my stamp wheel too. I have my scoreboard. I have a paper trimmer, my envelope maker, and then a bunch of, probably I should get rid of some of these, but I have some warped plates and my metal plates and whatever I just haven't gotten rid of. Over here I have all my inks. I have my Stampin' Ups. I have these are Altenews. These I just keep on the cover of the bins that my stamps are stored in. So if I need a color, if I need a red or a pink, I just take out this whole tray, put it on my desk, and I can work with that. So I have these organized by color: reds, oranges, and yellows, and browns or neutrals. And then I have greens going into like turquoise blues, and then here I have my blues and my purples. I also have a box with distress inks. Here I have everything for my hot foiling, my glimmer machine. These are glimmer plates and what's it called? Better press plates. So those are all in here. And then I have my glimmer machine, my better presses hanging on the wall, and then I have this die cutting machine set right here so that I can do my hot foiling immediately. I also have some sequins on the wall. And then my larger paper that I haven't cut is here. And here's my desk. A couple lights on there. Excuse me. I have my paper cutter right here, and my die cutting machine right here. I have a calendar so that I can keep up with upcoming events. And then for my brushes, I found this is a yogurt container that I found at the grocery store. So cute. So I got a bunch of those when they were on sale, and that's what I use to store my brushes in. And then I have another tiered rack for empty containers or glues and whatever. And then in my drawers, this is where I keep things that I use on a daily basis. My scissors, my bone folder. This is used to pick up my gems, my tweezers. Can't live without my tweezers, the tapes. This is where I have all my cloths for cleaning up. This is where I have more inks that just didn't fit on my shelves. Here are my black inks and my metallic inks. And then I have, in the bottom, I have my, what are they called? Foam squares, different kinds of adhesives. And on this one, I have my stamps in one drawer. I have my smaller stamp wheel and my sticky mats. Here I have my pre-cut white cardstock and my neutral colored cardstocks. I use the white the most. And I also have my acrylic blocks in here. And then I have my foam tape in this drawer, and then a junk drawer on the bottom. So that's how I organize there. Over here is my favorite case. This one I found at an antique store. And this is where I store all of my dies, and it's perfect because they're nice, sturdy, heavy drawers. So in the top drawer, I have most of my flowers. These are organized mostly by company, but I have my flowers there. This one, I have butterflies, dragonflies, and bees. I have birds, I have critters, so I have these organized like that. Down here, I really need to make these just a little bit shorter because they're just a little too tall, and probably laminate them would be a good idea. But here I have buckets, cages, and fences. Includes vases, anything that I could use to accent my cards would go in here. And then I have cactus and mushrooms, doors and windows, leaves, fall, transportation, birthday, tropical, and miscellaneous. And then I have a lot of Altenew, so I have 3 drawers full of different Altenew products. That one, this one is full of Altenew, and then this one is full of the Altenew Craft a Flower, which I use all the time. And then this drawer up here is for shapes. I have border dies in the front, and then it goes into circles, ovals, squares, rectangles, different shapes near the back. So I can come in here whenever I need to find a certain shape. And then in the top one are the word dies. So I come in here to find what I need for that. I also have these that I found at Hobby Lobby, very inexpensive. And I have pre-cut my colored cardstock to the A2 size so that I can grab that quickly if I need it. And then down below I have different sizes. Some of these are Altenew that come in the smaller sizes. And I have the specialty cardstock down below where it's the glitter cardstock or the metallic cardstock. Some I have some vellum pre-cut. So that's how I do that. I also have my larger cutting paper cutter here, and then I use this if I'm using shimmer relief paste and I need to put something aside to dry, because otherwise I put it on my desk and undoubtedly I throw something on top of it. So this way it's right out of the way. Here's my little setup for taking pictures. And then over here is another case that used to be in my kids' playroom. My kids, by the way, had the whole basement as their playroom, so they had plenty of space and lots of stuff. But here is just where I keep all different papers. These are all pads of different colored cardstocks. This is where I keep my scraps of specialty cardstocks. So this is cardstocks that I have colored, or it's like the specialty kinds that I would use. These are my white scraps, my black scraps, my neutral scraps. And then these are somewhat color-coded. I start here red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. So that's just how I have my scraps. I do need to go through and get rid of some and cut out the rough edges, but that's how I have that. And then the rest are just paper pads. Over here, I have this folder filled with pre-cut sentiments. I grabbed some baseball card holders, and I just filled these with any of the pre-cut sentiments that I have made. And trust me, I have made a lot. So I do have a video on how I did that, if you care to see that. Right now I'm storing my stencils in here, but it's not working because they keep coming undone. So I do need a different way to store my stencils. Here I have all my Stampin' Up! Stamps, and I have a basket of old backgrounds that I made that I just never used. So sometimes I look through here and see if there's something that I could use. These are my plastic bags, plastic storage bags for new dies and stamps when I get them, plus some magnets to go along. And then this I got from Amazon, and mine came in a package of 2, and I think I have ordered now 3 packages of 2. I use them all over my house. But as you can see, this one has my glitter, some of my sequins, my hot foils, more hot foils, my shimmer relief paste, which is some of my favorite products. That's what I have on the outside. And then on the inside of my door, I have 2 of them, which house my cards. So I have these organized by theme so that I can find whatever it is that I am looking for. And I'm not going to show you the inside of my closet. But I also have one more here with more cards because I was starting to run out of room. So I hope that there were some tips in here for you to use. I'd love to hear if you like anything or if you have any suggestions for how to store my stencils. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks for coming by, and I hope to see you soon.